Hey everybody, welcome back to Gardens the Untold Story. I'm your host Ken Somerville. My co-host Andy Lopez, the Invisible Gardener, is being invisible. Uh, Today we're going to be reviewing a quick review on Andy's new online workshop, which you guys are going to be able to get access to here very shortly. And I'm looking forward to learning everything that Andy's got in there. 'Cause I think he's got a lot of stuff in this online course that you guys are gonna like. And yes, Christopher, hit that thumbs up button, okay? So Andy, brother, take it away, man. What's going on?
Okie doke, here we go. So I've been doing this stuff for many years, and I have a really nice database of information, that I can pass on to people. So let me show. So far it's 27 weeks, and I actually came up with a week while we were waiting, sitting here. I'll let you know to the end. It'll probably be 28. It's going to probably be a few more. So the first one is the one people have been asking me about lately because we're in a combination of a drought and also having really a high superheat, and people are trying to figure out how to survive their property. So that's what this first week is going to be about: things that you can be doing to help your property survive through the fire. Well, the heat, fire. Well, you got to let the fire department do that, but basically, mainly, like here it's 100 and something, and so along the beach it's like 78. But most places, people are starting to get in touch with me. My trees are dying. What do I do? I'm watering more water, adding more water. Well, that doesn't work. So we're going to cover that for everybody. The second one is called the Living Soil and Mycelium Intelligence. So I've been into mycelium for several billion years. And I started very much into Paul Stamets when he said that mycelium is the internet of the soil. And so there's a lot going on here. I was reading great information about how trees talk, how they communicate through the mycelium, how other plants. So every creature, including us human beings, have connection to this. So we're going to cover that.
Cool.
Then we have the refractometer and bricks. Oh, I don't know what happened, but did it just get moved out of the way here? I think it got. There you go. Phew, I touched the wrong thing and just wanted to go somewhere else. So I talk sometimes, about the refractometer. So I'm going to go, it's going to be a whole hour, as much as we can. I want to do at least, the classes should be at least a half hour with another half hour question and answer. So it's going to be a live stream, which is really cool. Each live stream will be taped and you'll be able to see it later. And new folks can come on and go through it, but they have to finish one before you go to the second one. I'm going to be talking about the refractometer. You'll be able to download a ebook on the refractometer, which has all the bricks levels for different vegetables and fruit. It was written by a friend of mine. Says, he gave it to me. Says, give it away. So that's what you get on the third week. And then on the fourth week, we have organic fruit tree care basics. I've been doing fruits care since Florida. In Miami, it's fruit everywhere. So it's different people everywhere, but the basics are still there. So that's what I want to cover with you, the basics. That would be soil care, right? Organic fertilization, pruning. So all these things you're gonna cover. And what I'm looking for right now is beta testers, people that will take the course, go through the course, and tell me what they think of the course. If they get information, anything we can do better. I'll show you later how to do that. So the next one is coming up. It's called Organic Disease Control Basics. Slightly different, but we're going to key into diseases. I've been dealing with diseases all my life, even as a kid. Well, what's wrong with that plant? Well, people say, what can I spray this? What can I spray that? Well, it's like go to the dentist and say, well, what can I chew? Or what can something stupid that you can do it automatically, but you can continue to eat your candy and all that stuff and ruin your teeth. And so the basics really means basic. It just means these are the things, this is the problem. These are the things you can do for immediate care. I teach people long-term and short-term solutions. This is a short-term solution. What can I do to save the plant or the whatever right now? So that's going to get covered. And then 6 weeks is why worm farming. So I got into compost really early, but my garden always had worms. Always had worms. I didn't have to have a worm farm. It was a worm farm, right? And so when I go to people's property, I would actually I'd tell them what you can do to encourage worms to go on your property. First thing, don't pick them and destroy them, because they will guy would call me up. There's worms coming on my lawns. I've killed them all. I go, oh yeah, right, okay, right, you know. And so, but I also started a worm farm because I started making compost. I realized that in a healthy soil, there's worms, and the worms are doing something. I totally believe they're a part of this whole biology thing that's going on here, right? The way they recycle. So we're going to cover worms and what kind of worms to do, and depending on where you live at. Hi, cousin, give me a worm joke. I asked for it, right? I asked for it. See, if you ask them first, they won't do it. But if you don't ask for it, they'll get to it. Anyway, then we're going to do your own organic vegetable garden, right? We're going to talk about. I've been gardening longer than I think I've done anything else. I started gardening in my backyard, my parents' backyard. What I learned right off the bat is you just can't go to the store and buy these plants or the seeds. No bueno at all. Somehow I picked up, I was lucky. Organic Gardening Magazine said, order these seeds. They're all organic, heirlooms. Use this. I said, gotcha, right? So I always started doing that. There are some very good organic seed catalogs on the market. My favorite one is called the Whole Seed Catalog. It's like you ever had the Whole Earth Catalog? Do you remember in the old days, Whole Earth Catalog?
I don't know that I ever got that one, Andy.
Well, this company did the Whole Seed Catalog. It's a big giant book with tons and tons of seeds from around the world for different giant moonflowers, giant corn. And so the seeds are very important. Just like when you're growing vegetables, you could have the most amazing soil, but if you have the very bad seeds, you're not going to get very much. So that's going to get covered. I'll try to include maybe a little bit of a seed change, because I have a seed bank. I'm thinking of taking some of my seeds, putting in an envelope, and mailing them out to winners or people who are interested. Maybe we can start our own seed exchange. So that's the 7th week. Imagine we're only in the 7th week. Are we as a show over yet? No, okay. So this was called. This was going to be about compost. Yeah, and I started. In Miami when I was doing gardening. I was not able to do a compost pile in my backyard. That just did not go over well. My neighbor said, "What are you doing? It stinks." I go, "I'm just making compost." "No, you're not." And the city says you can't do it. So then the city said, "Okay, you can buy a compost bin." And that's what I was a kid. Buy a compost bin, you can do it in there. But as a kid, I didn't really like that. I felt that why should I put them in the bin when it's supposed to be going in the ground? So I would just put them in the ground. So I buy these 5-gallon buckets, at the bottom off, put it in the ground, put the lid off, throw the food in there, cover it back up again, and they would disappear. That would be my compost, early compost. And that was in the 6th grade. And so I always had a relationship with compost, and I always made the best. I call it Organa, Organa, and it was like how Mother Nature. If I would imagine, how would Mother Nature make compost? Oh wait, what is this one? She got a son. There he is.
What did the mushroom say when he was turned down for a date? Why don't you want to go out with me? I'm a fun guy.
Thank you. I needed that. Thank you. I needed that. So anyway, now this one is a little bit different because it is advanced organic disease control. So I'm not going to mention any of the things you think you would be spraying, or any of the things you think you would be doing. There are a bunch of different things that there's a law of cause and effect. So you want to the cause is what you want to deal with. And so this advanced organic disease control deals directly with the cause. And a lot of it is in the soil. It comes down to the health of the soil. Diseases are found in the soil, and only when the conditions are right in the soil do those diseases come out. That's just the way Mother Nature made it. You see, so it always has to do with trace minerals, and of course, it has a lot to do with how the plants assimilate, because you may have tons of trace minerals on your property, or tons of trace minerals on your compost, but if you don't have the bacteria there to properly break it down to the plants are not going to get it, and especially if the plants themselves don't have the functioning root systems to do that. So this is just a little touch of the disease control. And I also include in the advanced disease control foliar applications. There's a whole week on foliar spraying, but that is one of the things you want to be able to do. Make something in a liquid that you can spray the leaves with. See, because that's always been the spray something. What chemical can you spray? Well, it's not going to be a chemical that you spray. Something very magical, very down to earth. It's different types of soil biology you can use because that's exactly what you do. And you're going to learn some liquid biology are so amazing to use. You're going to use it regularly. Milk, right? Who knew, right? But I always knew that when milk got sour, I would spray it. I said, I'm just going to spray this, and the plants liked it. And so then they have the Korean farming, which basically uses one of the things they use is rice to make a liquid. Then you can spray the biology. So there are different kinds of biological things you can spray once you learn what reacts really well with other things. And you'll learn the key to all of them is plants that have a lot of calcium in them. One of the basic things they need to have is calcium in it, and the magnesium. The calcium is the key that opens the door to all the other ones all the other minerals being allowed absorbed by the plant. What we need is a chemist. Do you have any chemists on board? We have a chemist talk about how the calcium merges with nitrogen and all these other things so plants can then absorb it. So that's what we're going to do in week 9, okay?
Okay.
So, tell me what I'm going to class, guys. What's this one? No, I'm not going to show it. Should I show it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Both are colloidal silver and uncoated infection. Okay. All I have to say is you want coated silver, not colloidal silver. That's all I'm going to say. Coated. C-O-A-T-E-D. Coated silver. That's what you want. Okay. Anyway, this is organic weed control. You see Mother Nature's medicine for the soil. So it's a hint as to the direction I would be going to. Hi, Silly. I see you. You can't hide from me, Silly.
Yeah, Silly came down. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm nodding off. I'm really tired. She came down to tell me to wake up,
Oh, I know. We had to talk about if you were to go to sleep. You could crash out. I can handle the rest of this. I wrote a whole bunch of cartoons, and I have some baby shower books. And if little Johnny goes to school, first day of school, we can do that. I even got pictures. No,
I think the people are here more to see what you're creating for your workshop, Andy.
So this is the weed control basis, and it's the basic one, which basically means let them grow. That's very basic. So we'll cover all the different basic reasons why there's weeds in the first place. And once you understand that, you're going to find that everything has a reason for it, right? Crazy Cucumbers Organic Gardening for Windows. Oh yeah, that's the way to do it. And I think, well, as a matter of fact, I just thought of a. One of these weeks is going to have to be indoor gardening. Window gardening. There you go. The one I just missed. See, growing indoors.
See, guys, you're helping Andy come up with chapters for the chorus. So
window gardening. That's going to be very good. Growing indoors. That's a very good. Even though we grow indoors with a bunch of other things, when I was growing my plants, I always had tomato plants out in there. I had lettuce, vegetables, all kinds of stuff, and a really year-round kind of thing. You're growing lettuce in the middle of summertime, right? So thank you. That's why I'm open. You hear about the cucumber? It wasn't in the rut. Oh, it was in the pickle. Okay, you can stop now. You can stop now. So anyway, this one here that went the other way. What happened to my? Did I do? Oh no. Oh wait. Okay. Almost there. I think I went by this. Okay. See though, of course, ants are one of the things that I started doing the very first. When I started Visible Gardener in 1971, something like that, very first thing the customer wanted to know is I have an ant problem. Very first thing. And so in my experience over the many, because in the beginning I would say, okay, well, maybe we can just tell them that you're not wanted here. So I was spraying Dr. Bronner soap. Really good. It works really well. Peppermint, eucalyptus. So we talk about different natural things you can spray. We talk about part of the reason, if you control water, you'll be able to control the ant population. I will cover a little bit on how Mother Nature, the soil biology, stops any kind of infestation, including an ant infestation, including a snail infestation, any kind of most of the insects are born in the soil and continue on everywhere else. So it's the soil that controls the population of all these different things, okay, diseases and pests. So but for the ants, that's the main thing you want to really key into. I don't know if we have an advanced ant control one, because when I did this 10 tips, I came up with a new book. It's called Dances with Ants. And Dances with Ants is one I did 15 years ago, which was this. My new book that I'm doing now, it's not even going to cover those bases. You have to read that to do it. But the latest is why soil biology can control your ants. And that's what I've been doing to people's properties, bringing the soil back to life. And when it reaches a certain threshold of biology, no ant problem. You're going to have ants, but in a smaller amount, because the ants, the soil biology produce a bacteria that control the ants. Very simple. Or snails or any other creature. Yeah, diatomaceous earth is one of the basic control for snails and for a variety of other creatures. And I'll talk about that during my class. You just got to be real careful not to get in your eyes. And there's 3 different kinds of diatomaceous earth, which has always been my crusade. People, I went to the hardware store and I bought some camp diatomaceous earth for pool grade diatomaceous earth, real cheap. I go, yeah, it was real cheap, because you're going to catch lung diseases from you doing that. It's a chemical. You don't want that. There's pool grade, garden grade, and food grade.
Yeah, we use the food grade.
Yeah, you can use the garden grade in the garden, because it's really not that bad. But if you really want to use it on your produce, you use the food grade. And the food grade is also the one that I use to control the ants because you can sprinkle around. It's good for other things, but you got to be careful, because it doesn't save your passport, please. You'll get bees as well as beneficials as well as the bad guys.
I like what Farmer Cheryl says here. I had ants getting into my water kefir ferments. The sugar to feed the water kefir grains attracted ants. Place the fermentation jar in a bowl of water to serve as a moat to drown the ants. So just like the castles, they had the moat, right?
I hate to say this, but what will happen is one of the ants will go, hey, I have an idea. All of them will lie down and they'll drown, but all the ants can walk on top of them. That's what I did over here on my place. The ants laid down a mat. They all died, and the ants on top of it walk right over. I go, I should have videotaped that. So I'm just saying that's what's going to. But the ants are real smart. They will figure out a way to get over there. So we're going to do snail and slug control. Again, I'll cover the basics. This is very simple to do. And once you get it together, you understand. If you do these things, you will not have these. And if you have them, you have a small amount, because that's why you have a birdhouse, right? That's why you have other creatures in your gardens and they will come. I have chickens. They love snails. Chickens will go through snails like, hey, you want a piece? No, man, thank you. Yours. So yeah. There are lots of ways to do that. I prefer not to kill them directly myself. Let Mother Nature work on it. And with gopher is one of the same things I do. I'm doing that right now. I'm not going to lay a poison down. I'm not going to lay traps down. I'm working it out with them. And so this form of communication you have to learn with any animal, because the main language is food. So you learn how to deal with giving them what they want, and at the same time them giving me what I want. I'm making a bunch of. You can make a wide variety. Like I have in my garden, I have, let's see, I got maybe 30 different kinds of herbs. Each one of those herbs, when made into a tea, it's the biology of that herb, and it can be sprayed. I noticed that gophers and other different moles and other, essentially not just gopher, but squirrels, any insects or bugs that have the same kind of nose smelling, react to different smells. And so I've been making I can show you how to make several different types of formulas that you can use throughout the process of keeping these animals away while not hurting them or hurting the wildlife or hurting the dog or cat or any of that stuff. So that's part.
I like this one, Andy. Did you hear about the insect that was injured? It got slugged.
I think she came prepared. I think she's looking them up. I think she's looking them up now and just as prepared. And so I wanted to get your attention on this one. So I on this week we're going to be doing pest and wildlife control. And so I'll definitely show you how to keep lions away. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. So you'll learn how to do that. And that's what I'm doing now over here because we have live up against the forest and they overflow over here. And I'm not gonna kill everybody in the forest. You know, that's not the solution. So you have to rely on their nose. When I lived in Florida, I was going to the Goldwyn Mayer, I think Barnum and Bailey. I said it, Goldwyn Mayer Barnum and Bailey Circus. And so they were calling me. I was getting elephant manure so I could make my compost from, and I would make it's called organic gold because it was strict elephant manure. It's one of the best composted manure on the planet because think of the stomach that goes through that elephant, right? And so I actually ended up buying tiger poop or lion poop, one of the two. And one little piece in the garden, nobody comes around, not even my cat. My cat's, everybody stay away from that spot over there. I don't know what it is, but you know, because they can smell it. And when I lived up Deer Creek, I also had the elephant manure, and I don't know what this is, but I'm not going anywhere near it. You know, so
well, that's one of the hunter's trick is you find a apex predator and you put their urine around your campsite, and you know the other predators won't come close because they think that's where the apex predator is.
Yeah, you have to learn how to. You know, you don't want to kill any of these. And when I lived up Deer Creek, the mountain lion would come around regularly. He would say, "You don't mind if I eat one of your chickens?" I go, "Do you mind if I eat one of your pups?" And they go, never mind. Okay, bye.
Somebody's giving you a compliment, Andy. Yeah. Andy, incredible, invisible farmer. You're a legend, or you are a legacy. And I hope you have a great day.
I'm a legacy. I have 2 legs and 1 lazy leg. A legacy. A lazy.
Yeah, I don't know that legacy. They just call you old. Okay.
Call me old. So this week here, I'm hoping to tap into what is going on. A lot of people here are contacting me. You know, squirrels are coming, raccoons are coming. Snakes. We got spiders. What the heck? And I said, you live in the country. What the heck? You know, so and they kill off the hawks, which normally would come after these things, rats. So they'll say, what do we do wrong? Well, quit killing the natural predators that are here because they're the ones that takes care of it in the first place. Duh.
The predator-prey cycle. You know, whether it's large animals, small animals, or the biology, they all work on predator-prey. You take out the prey species, and you got an abundance of predators. You break the life cycle.
So it's something people have to learn, especially those that are living in a semi-country environment. In a country environment, you don't usually have that problem because farmers know, hey, there's predators and we're prey, and we have to not make it easy for the predator, but we don't have to go out and kill them because they're a predator. That's what they do. Let them get the rats, all the creatures, but my creatures are my creatures, and I have to let them know that. Simple.
Yeah.
What is this one? Hey, wait! You can't do anymore, Serena. I'm gonna block you. You can't keep doing this. Look at this one.
What kind of trees or plants do people need to plant?
Oh, that was a question.
To reduce the chance of rock slides and subsequent landslides from rocks hitting glaciers.
This is a trick question. I can sense this is a trick question.
Yeah, this isn't a joke.
Yeah, it is. Tell me the answers, Serena. But you can tell me I'm not going to fall for this because there is no kind of trees or plants that reduce the chance of rock slides because sooner or later they don't have such deep roots that the rock slides they can't stop a rock slide, you know. And so up there where you're at, it's just going to have to stay out of the way, you know. The plant people. You can't plant anything because everything will move. The whole earth, feel the earth move under my feet. That thing is just not going to work. So you just have to hope there isn't any kind of landslides in where you live. We have landslides here all the time. No matter what we plant, it's not going to hold it up. And people have spent millions of dollars drilling, putting plants up. I mean, not plants, buildings and structure. There it goes.
Yeah. you can hope to stabilize by putting more roots in the soil. But once she goes, that's it. She's gone.
Go with it, right? The lady planted some carapia, 15-foot roots. A big chunks went together. All the roots went together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as week 16, we're going to be talking about flea and tick control. And it's not on people, it's for pets in the house. One lady said, I'll take a bath. I said, okay, no problem. You'll be fine. So we'll be covering that. Diatomaceous is one of the things we use. We also use boric acid. It's a food grade. It's the medicine grade boric acid, and you can sprinkle it on the rug and then scrub it in and vacuum them off. It'll get rid of all the eggs. Also, very, very good for what is it? No-see-ums and bed bugs. Bed bugs. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that we're covering in here too as well, especially what you can do on your pet. Because I've had pets myself, and I know what to do for them. Why was the clock scratched? Oh, cause it ticks. Look, this is addictive. Oh, that what happened? This is addictive. I mean, I miss it now. I don't want it anymore.
Okay, let's continue on.
I've had enough. Okay, so I wrote a book, How to Control Mosquitoes, and it was like one page. So doesn't count as a book. And part of it was garlic. Because the mosquito, thrives under a certain environment. You can't really sometimes. The whole city and the part of a country may have to just deal with it. Like if it's a red rain, like in Florida, raining all the time, that kind of stuff. Sitting water. They were spraying. I think it was called malathion over the city or something else. I suggested, why don't you just spray garlic? You got 100,000 tank. You add a little bit of garlic to that spray, and the worst will happen if people go, "Oh, garlic." But that garlic kills the mosquitoes dead. As a matter of fact, when I suggested that in the early 70s, the company that I told people they should buy is called Garden Barrier. Garden Barrier. It's made like 100 cloves of garlic. Well, they have another one now called Mosquito Barrier. Oh, this is the same thing, garlic. And so you can literally, and one of the things I did for that was really cool, and it does work, is that you take a clove of garlic. I'm going to say it now because it's fun. Cut it in half, put one in each shoe. You can go out for a walk, camping. Nobody will come anywhere near you because you're going to smell like garlic. Your whole body will reek of garlic. That'll keep every creature away. Mountain lion will go, okay, I don't know, there it is over there. Everybody this way, And mosquito, they have to find you in order to bite you. Oh, same thing with all the other creatures. That's just going to say that. Okay, so this is
before you go on, we're going to stop for Farmer Cheryl here. Can the boric acid also be used inside to control ants? Can this deter the ants from the ferments?
The way, Cheryl, the way you do this is you turn the boric acid into a kind of food that they eat. There are many products on the market now that do use boric acid and some kind of sugar. There's a 1% boric acid and a 5% boric acid. So I would go to the store, being organic, I would buy organic white rice, or sometimes I would get honey if it's real cheap honey, or sometimes molasses. The white rice is the cheapest, and I go to a drugstore and buy boric acid. You buy boric acid as an eye wash. You can get like a large amount of it. And then you learn how to make a 1% solution or a 5% solution. You just have to look it up. The 1%, what the 1% solution does, you make it and you let the ants get at it. The ants will take it back to their queen. They have two stomachs, one that they eat for themselves and one that they take back to the queen. Offer it to the queen. If enough ants given her the 1% solution, she dies. There's a 5% solution, it's a little bit stronger because it sometimes it kills the whole colony right there, but some of them make it back, give it to the queen, and then the whole colony there dies because that 5% stretches out really fast. The food, all these guys eat everything, right? So that's the best way you want to deter the ants. You don't want necessarily to deter them there. You want to look and see where they're coming from. That's where you deter them. So look at a bow and arrow. When you're shooting at the circle, so your target is where the ants are going to go to breaking into your stuff, right? So you have the furthest away that when they first encounter this, you want to have, I call them ant cafes, little units that you buy a Finch birdhouse, you put the liquid in there, you put it down in the right place, you cover it. The ants will find it there. They may never even make it back to your place. And what you do, once you see the ants are in there eating, you spray like something natural, like Dr. Bronner soap or any kind of soap. Spray it where you've seen them walking, because that will wipe out their trails. The ants leave a little sign this way, make a left. So you get rid of that sign, and they will start eating that for a while. And then when they die, the ants, the queen says, "Don't send anybody over there because they're not coming back." After a while, we need to find.
Andy, is this a powder that you're creating, or a spray?
No,
or
you get honey, or if you have the white sugar, of course you have to have some liquid water to it to stir it up and turn it into a liquid. So you want it to slightly liquid solution. You could, if you were to do just the powder and the sugar, the ants will separate the boric acid powder and take out the sugar. I tried that. They left nothing but boric acid. So if you mix it together, they drink the whole thing. So
okay,
it's easier to just do like honey or molasses, right? Don't use anything that has preservatives, because they will not touch it, or anything with chemicals in it. You want something pure. The ants will definitely go for that. They take it back to the colony, and that really works. That's just a short-term solution. But again, the real problem is their soil. You need to do something more. You need to put more biology into your soil, because the ants are going ape. They're going ape, right? Because nothing's slowing them down. There's more and more ants. When you get more and more ants, you have more and more ants and more ants, right? So that's what you have to do. Amen. What are these? This is another question. There was only 8, and even though the plant was still sucking it. So the milkweed plant is a particular kind of plant that doesn't have anything wrong with it. That's what the monarchs eat. That's their main source of food. That it's okay. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the plant. And you don't want to stop them. Let them go through that, because then they'll produce more monarchs and more monarch plants and more monarch flies. So there's certain things that you just should let them go through your stuff, right? You don't care if the caterpillars are eating your monarch, right? So anyway, for the roses, I'll go over what you do to have the most beautiful, abundant roses you ever see in your life, right? I'll tell you some do's and don'ts. I'll give you one don't right now. Don't mix garlic and coffee together and spray your roses. No good. Nope.
Well, Lily wanted to say that you have a beautiful photo on the roses, Andy.
Thank you. And that's me right there. So we're going to cover foliar spraying techniques. This is the key, the secret to making everything grow while you're helping them come back. So a lot of people, when I go to somebody's customer's place, I need this place. I don't want anything to die. And it takes a while to heal the soil. It takes even longer to heal the root systems. So all that time that the soil's not working, the root system's not working, the plant's dying. So you have to feed the plants. You have to give it to them in a form that they get right away, and that's through foliar application. I don't know how I came up with it, but I think Mother Nature does that all the time. See, when the air is in a forest, you're going to get foliar applications all the time. When it rains, the wind, all kinds of stuff are in the air. That's biology. Normally, around us, it's all sterile. All the air is sterile. It doesn't have the biology that needs it. So I'll cover that, all the different types of foliar applications I've been doing throughout my career. I'll cover a little bit about super seaweed. As a matter of fact, I will put it in the thing, because I'll say, this is my formula. I'm going to keep away maybe 4 or 5 formulas. I won't give you the whole thing. I might give you the whole thing. Maybe I will. What do you think? I should tell them everything, right? I should say. I should reveal everything. Oh God, that sounds like a good week show. Andy will reveal everything. I'm going, yeah.
I said, so Serena was wondering if the caterpillars would get the right nutrients by sucking the stems if all the leaves are gone.
No, it's the leaves are the ones that produce what they want. The stems don't have the production capability. They
would just basically move on when the leaves are all gone.
Yeah, the plant will produce more leaves.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're talking about. What did you do with that? We're going to do organic fruit tree care. Now, the advanced care is going to show you a little bit how to relate your Brix level to the sweetness of your fruit, how to tell when it's ripe. So we'll be covering that. So I want to have you guys use your refractometer. By then, I would have showed you where you can buy one. You can get one for $30. I have one for $30. I have one for 10,000, which was given to me, 10,000 then, and then I have one for 300, which is a analog, a digital, which you don't really want, and then I have a one for 200, which is a analog, and then the $30 an analog one. That's the one you look through and you have the numbers, and the digital one is the one you have to turn it on and off. It's very hard to do outside because you can't see. You have to do it inside, so. But it works. And the $10,000 one, that's the one it was worth at the time the guy gave it to me, like a company gave it to me. So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover how the soil biology can be geared towards fruit production, how to get the sweetness up, and how also covering pruning, and as many diseases as I get my little hands on. Because I want people to tell me what disease you got. And that's a good thing. What disease you got? and tell me, and we'll go over that. Okay, so then we have organic tree care, and so this is almost the same thing with fruit trees, except they're very different. So lots of different types of diseases for many different reasons. It all comes down to but due to my knowledge of it, I believe, and I can tell you this from experience, doing the same thing over and over again. It's a trace mineral deficiency. It usually comes down to some of these specific. Really, it says 96 trace minerals. So C90 has 90 trace minerals. Somebody just recently told me of one that has 92 trace minerals in it. And so, and I get the one of the reasons why I use a variety of different rock dust is that in there, even the bottom line is that you're not going to get these trace minerals. You're not going to find in a raw form to then bring them over here. These are trace minerals that are made by the biology. So you have to have all these 90 trace minerals here. They will take these and turn it into this 96, one of these 96 that they need. So it's a special type, specialized biology that would do that. Some of them just use carbon, but they're basically magical biology that would turn stuff you want. And so, but I've learned from experience, some liquids also have that, the microbes in there. That's why I like the worm juice. The worm liquids, they have the bright. I tried using different kinds of animal manures to see what works, whether it be chicken manure, you make a liquid from that, or make even compost tea. So it's just a matter of, so if you have the worm in your compost, then of course you're going to have it, right? And so it comes back to the worms have produced this magical, and I think that Rudolf Steiner would have loved the worms if he had known that would be the one that produces it the most. I don't think he studied worms, in terms of how they compare to his cow's stomach, right?
Yeah.
So we still got some time. Yeah, we're going. We're cool. Yeah, we're cool. So this is 2 parts. So this is really not for the plants. It's for you guys. We're gonna have to get you from the chemicals you're using to the chemicals that you're not using. We're going to get you from destroying your garden to making the most amazing stuff that people can buy. What you got going on there, son? We're not going anywhere near your place. And so that's what it's all about, because the plants are not hooked on it. If you switch to organic and you do it right, because it's wrong thing. I have people say, I was organic and I switched over, and does that work? Of course not, because you're going to have the biology to handle it. So you have to also have the biology in the soil, because if your soil is dead from the right biology, you go use organic fertilizers. Organic fertilizers need the biology in the soil to work.
Well, it's just like your rock dust needs the biology to break it down, etc. It has to all be worked together with the organic material, which is your compost, etc.
Exactly.
Now, I have Silly Lily has a question.
Okay.
And Serena was even asking if this question had been answered yet. Andy, this year I didn't cut down the rose bush. I usually do, and I got more roses than I've ever had on the rose bush before. Why?
You've been pruning it wrong. You've been pruning in the wrong places. Since you left it alone, the rose said, "Yeah!" It produced it. And so you have to be careful pruning in the wrong place because that will stop anything from blooming on that stem or any other stem.
What's the wrong place?
Well, usually there's the rule of thumb is 5 leaves. You count 5 leaves and it's right directly below that one. 5 leaves.
Okay, so at the end of the season, I know that because I know that Lily's been doing, she's been basically cutting it right down almost to the ground at the end of the season.
No, that's not exactly the best thing to do because that really shocks the plant. And they basically have to start all over again. So ideally, what you want to do, you want to cut it down to maybe it depends. Every time you cut it, it's a different height you want to cut it. You gradually want to expand it as you grow throughout the years. But in the first year, you probably have about a foot of height. So that means that you don't cut down lower than a foot. You try to find somewhere around that foot level where there are junctions that shows you where the new one will grow. If you cut it in the right place, you're going to get, they will come out. If you cut it in the wrong place, it's going to take a long time because that branch is not going to come out. If it does, it comes out deformed and your flowers will be deformed. And it's the same thing with fruit. Your fruit is produced from your previous branches, not from the new branches. So that's what you have to do with the roses. You have to allow the roses to grow on these older branches and they will have flowers. And then after the following year, you let that branch grow a little bit. You only cut back to certain lengths. So it's growing on the second branch, right? On the second year's branch. And every year you let it grow a little bit. Usually what happens after a long time, the main branches are really thick. And so that's where you cut them back to just a little bit. Because you can't really or depends on the variety, you can let them grow. They get to be really, really super big because they keep cutting. It's 20 years, at 30 years, right? So that's what you have to do. You have to learn how to prune for the flowers, just like with fruit trees. Learn how to prune for production, not for shape or looks.
Well, Lily says, remember, we have a brutal winter, right. So I trim down and then have a vigorous growth in the spring again.
Right. So you have to. So in a brutal winter, you want to be able. Don't you use bales of hay to protect it?
No.
Okay. Well, that's probably it then. See, so. I'm not a winter person, but I lived in Colorado, and I knew from watching people and they tell me what to do that you have to. If ideally you would prune down to a certain length and then cover it. You cover it with hay, just cover it with a couple of bales of hay, and then snow will be on top of it, and it won't. But that'll produce the most growth. So if you're really pruning it down because you're afraid that you need it to survive for the wintertime, and you're not protecting it. So 2 things are happening at the same time, and eventually it doesn't produce as much as if you were to take care of it properly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and she says I cover it with mulch, usually straw,
but not enough. Okay. But obviously not enough. You want to really cover that thing because it doesn't have to be within. You have to see sun or nothing. You really want to cover that so the snow doesn't actually hurt the branches because that's what will happen. The snow will damage the branch, and you're going to have to cut back to there again. The other thing you could do too, it depends how many roses you have. I used to build like a little miniature greenhouse around it and cover it up and let the snow cover it. And then you open it up and you can see that it's still doing fine. And the roses will grow from that second year or third year better than if it's just making start over again. Again, it also depends on the variety. Some of them are meant to handle that, and some of them are not. You have to know what varieties you're growing.
Now, Serena wanted to point this out. I always prune off any new rose limbs that are crossing others. Does it matter whether I prune the new or old ones when it happens?
Well, yeah, it does. So you want to prune if you in the beginning, you shouldn't be allowing old ones to cross anyway. That means you didn't prune it when it was time to prune it. But if you left, so that means if you're going to do it now, it's too late. You need to leave the old ones down, only come down to the point where you can prune the old ones to allow new ones to grow rather than any new ones. The only reason why you would do new ones would be if you really like the height, you don't want it to go any higher. So you want to keep it at a certain level. But you remember, it won't make, and if you want it to produce more, you're going to have to feed it more. That's the basic thing. So I don't know what you're feeding it. You may not be feeding it anything. Maybe feeding compost, but they really like bone meal. They like the feather meal. things like that are very high in minerals. And also, right, so if you give them the right kind of food, they would definitely, they're not too crazy about high nitrogen fertilizers. I don't know what kind, I know you guys are organic, so I don't know what you're feeding it. Tell, me what you're feeding
Well,
it.
let's see. We got mulch and straw. That's about what we feed it.
That ain't feeding it.
Well, sure it is. When it breaks down the next spring, it's going to help feed.
You still need to feed it. You need to come up with a highly nutritional additive that you want to add to it. So usually the compost, if you make compost with animal manure and all kinds of stuff, there's a good source of food right there. Otherwise, you have to find locally maybe a good organic fertilizer company that sells a blend of all these stuff, and the roses would love that. Usually, you don't have the ability to have all the things that you need on that one property unless you have a farm that's really functioning with a lot of animals and all that kind of stuff, which I don't think you do. Sir, correct me if I'm wrong. You have horses, you have cows, you have what? Sheep, anything, right? Chicken?
I got a lily.
A lily, right? See, so if you know a farmer who has all those things, you just get their compost. But you do need to come up with some, especially every year, because roses are heavy feeders like tomatoes. Heavy. The more you feed them, not so much high nitrogen, the more they'll produce.
Here's one for your course, Andy.
Oh, yeah.
Great to have a class in the workshop series on ways to preserve the organic food one grows.
Yeah. I already got two classes already here. Thank you. So the organic transition, you set it up for the first a 2-year plan. So by the end of the second year, so essentially you start off being 100% organic chemical, right? And you want to switch to 100% organic. So you don't just go 100% organic that way. You have to switch over. So you have to find intermediate things that you can use that it's not going to hurt the environment, but they're not entirely organic. So there's different things that you can buy that are safe to use, but will continue because the root systems are not working. And so no matter how much foliar feeding you do, if the root system is not working, they'll die out. So the plants will die. So you want to, so whatever it was you was feeding before, you're going to have to use a lot less of, and then you have to supplement something else. Within a few months, you'll go into more and more of the organic stuff. By the end of the 6 months, you can tell. But also, too, what you have to do is you have to amend the soil. You have to subdue the soil. That's why it takes time to do all this stuff. That's why there's a 2-year cycle I give it to you, because if you start doing this with the soil, at the end of the second year, it depends. It'd be great if you had animals, right? If you had creatures that you can just blend them all together, that would be ideal. Or you find somebody that can do that. So I'll cover that for the organic transition. And I also will cover for the people eating. That's biochar, mixed worm casing, not and complement roast. Yes. Yeah, right. So the worm casing will provide, the biochar will provide, because the biochar also has a variety of other things, not just char. It has probably has worm casings in it already. The biochar I buy already has worm casings in it, and it has a few other things. That by itself is good. But you blend the two together, learn how much to give it to your plants, and the roses will love it. Make a tea out of it, see, so that you can spray them regularly with it. Yeah, I liked it. Okay, well, I think we got 10 more shows to go. Wait, what time is it? Is it ready to go, Daddy? Okay, so I'm going to talk about trace minerals. We're going to talk about the importance of them. Try to cover as much as I can in a half hour. Because trace minerals, it happens to be it could be the single most important thing that you need to understand how it works. So I want you to get you out of the habit of, I'm going to go buy 10 pounds of iron. I go, okay, right? It's not the way Mother Nature works. Mother Nature always has a blend. And it's that blend that's important, because the blend is how you get the most out of it, as opposed to, if you were to buy all these things separately and try to mix it up yourself, that's not the way to do it either. Mother Nature already has these amazing blends. That's what you want to tap into, okay? I specifically love rock dust. I love all the different, there's about 100 different types of rock dust on the planet, and they're all slightly different. And I used to be able to get as many, but you have to ship them from Neverland. So, but there are other things like the C90. There's other kinds of biology that you can buy that has very rich, and I'll give you some resources where you can go online and buy from them. and I'll give you a place where the good old boy farmers are organic and they sell these organic, all these amazing things. That's what I have to do here is, excuse me for resources. Do a resources question. It's good to tell people what to do, but it's also really good showing where they can get that product from.
Yeah.
Right. And we may
trusted sources.
Yeah, we may have to not mention the name online, I suppose, or maybe I just have to figure out a way for them to give me money to do it. Whatever. Okay, so then the magic of mulch. So people, I was thinking of calling it. Do you know what mulch is? Well, what is mulch? Right? People. So far, the main thing I get from here is the city says you can't mulch because it produces fires. It's a fire hazard. So I have to go over that with people and say, look, these guys were talking about this, not about this. Yeah, it's all covered mulch, considered mulch. Decorative mulch is pieces of wood that we light a match with, definitely burn. The only thing it does to your soil is that maybe it blocks some of the sunlight. And the biology loves eating that stuff. But that's going to take forever to really help your soil, and they're not going to be the answer. The reason why you're mulching is to protect the soil. That's the reason why you're mulching. Protect the compost, protect the biology is there. So that we're going to go over different types of mulches. And my goal is to help people wherever they live to go out and find this stuff. Maybe create their own company, start producing mulch. Not enough people are doing that. So, and then we have one of my favorites. And so if you insist on having a lawn, this is what you have to do. I will go over some lawn alternatives with you, some things you can do otherwise. That area right there could be a beautiful meadow, a wildflower meadow. It could be have more colors. You don't need to. In Mother Nature, you don't find this thing going on here. So you can have a wild. I want it to be more natural, more wilder. You know what I mean? You can have that different kind of fruit trees. Too much green, right? So we'll figure it out. And I would help people to do the Striscerino so that they can have more abundant, nice lawn area that they can sit on and play. Doesn't have to be grass. Lots of different kinds of different kinds of ground cover, and it could be under the water can be left below ground. Yeah. I didn't say that. I said, hey, heck yeah. Okay. Stop it. Who's got my mouth? There it is. My mouth. Okay, so of course we're going to talk about water. I might have Daryl come back on again and talk about water, but we're going to talk about the importance of filtering the city water or any kind of water that you have using on your property. And we'll give you some tests so you can see for yourself what kind of water is important for you to take a sample, send it off to a lab, have them tell you what you have in it. I would like to know. Every state, every city has their own regulations. So we're going to have to work on that and make it so you have clean water. It's probably the single. I keep saying the thing is all of these are important. All of these without the other ones are not going to work as well. You see, so everybody's this is important. And so I think we have one more class here coming on. Yeah, and so this is going to be it may be broken up in several parts. I've been doing this for a long time. I would love for you to start your own organic soil care business in your state, your city.
Yeah. And
what it would take for you to have your own spraying rig and to do this service for people. It's not that hard to do. You just got to put aside what everybody tells you about. I think that's the last one. I'm not sure. Is it? No, hang on a second. Show them this. There's one more thing. I have a commercial. Go ahead. Bring it up. See, this question and answer will be a week 8, and then we have a little bit about how you can get to do the workshop. You go to my newsletter. If you're already getting a newsletter, then you should go to the very bottom and say, click here if you want to be a beta tester, right? If you're not getting the newsletter, you sign up, get the newsletter, you'll get one. Then you'll click on the bottom. It'll say, hey, Andy, I want to be a beta tester. So if I get, this is the first come, first serve, I'm going to have maybe 20. I already have 20. I'm going to have 20 more beta testers. And free of charge for the whole year. If you don't get in, then I'll give it to you at half price. I haven't decided on a price yet. I think it's going to be $20 a class. And I'm stretching it out different ways. Instead of $80 for a month, it's $50 and so on. So you can get a whole year's worth for very inexpensive. And so that's the website. You go to invisiblegardener.com. Mention this show, so that I let you in. It's a what you said. Okay.
Yeah, whatever he said. Yeah, yeah.
I have no idea what we're talking about next week. Did I give you a list?
Yeah. Hold on.
I did. I don't like lists myself. So that's going to be the fourth, ladies and
Full
gentlemen.
your feeding. What is it?
Yeah, there you go. I knew it was up in the air there. So we're going to talk about that. And anything we do here, of course, I'm going to be putting into the workshop, and it's going to be more. I think that's one of my fortes is foliar spraying. I can spray. If you get it right, people call you up the next day because the plants immediately absorb it. And some things like rubber band effect doesn't need a major billing to just produce, right?
Yeah.
They're turn green real fast. Sometimes they put flowers up overnight. I don't know how they do that. Okay, flowers. I'm going definitely within a week, definitely but within 30 days. And there are plenty of times to plant. Like I have a picture of a stump, nothing, but you scratch it, it's still green. So I'm going to make it come back. I'm going to make it come back. We'll do it before, during, boom, and spraying. Just because you don't. So foliage means leaves, but you can also spray the trunk. Any part of it, any part of the plant, it's absorbed right into the trunk, and that's part of the secret for pest and disease control because that's where they're at. But right into the trunk to get it on the pest and the disease, knocks the disease out. It's amazing how that works, and we're going to have fun doing that on the workshop.
Cool. So there you go, guys, and you already know from the conversation that Andy's going to be adding more chapters into this course, and if there's something you didn't see in his list, then please feel free to reach out to Andy as well about other things that you want to learn about, and if Andy can help you learn those, then he'll add those into the course.
I'm going to make how to make fried earthworms.
Oh, okay. Is that like chocolate covered frog's legs? And,
chocolate covered ants.
Oh, okay.
I love chocolate covered ants and fried earthworms. Yeah, yummy. Okay, so we're looking forward to see you guys next week. Remember, go to my website, check everything out. Lots of stuff going on up there. Thank you for supporting the channel here.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and share both Andy's channel and It's All About the Biology. But to let you know, the ladies aren't going to be on tomorrow. Leighton's not going to be on Monday. He's been moving. So we gave him a couple of weeks off to be able to settle down and get things back to organized. So back when we start in September, we'll be having Leighton, the Soil Matters, back up on Mondays. But Andy, I'm exhausted, man. Lily came down and kept waking me up. So
you party too much of a party animal. I know it. I can see that look in your face, that wild animal look in your face. We'll see everybody next week. Okay.
Hey, Goathead, thanks for being joining the channel, becoming a defender of the biology, brother. Really appreciate you, guys. Take care. We'll see you here on next Wednesday, because I think that's going to be the next show. Is going to be next Wednesday with Andy and I as well. So have a great evening, guys.